All right, guys, welcome to the fifth video tutorial for the absolute beginners. I believe by now your hands are getting used to the keys on the keyboard. In this tutorial, I'll be covering the tones and semitones like we covered during the workshop. Your tone and your semitone is very important. It's important that you have knowledge of them, and this would help you in a way to be able to attempt playing your first major scale on any key. In the previous tutorial, we talked about playing on the key of C. If you've not seen it, you can always go back and check playing in the key of C, where we played with both the left hand and the right hand, and the finger placement. So let's just do a quick run through. For your C major scale, you have, so when you get your first three fingers, then all right, so that's your C major scale. Like I told you, practice is key. Consistency, just keep practicing. Don't worry, the speed will come if you keep practicing. Every time even if you don't have a keyboard, just anytime you have access to it, just make sure you know your finger arrangements, you know it, and you practice, and make sure that you're playing the right thing. Okay, so in this tutorial, we'll be talking about tones and semitones. So what's semitone? First step, semitones is called semitone or half tone. So you know the name of the key right now. So this is C, and the key above it, the black key above it, is the sharp. I've explained that already. Is the sharp. All right, is the sharp of C. So we call it C sharp or D flat. Okay, C sharp or D flat. Now the distance between C and C sharp is known as a half step. So you can see it. This is from C to C sharp is a half step. All right, half step or semitone. Okay, we call it half step or semitone. The distance between C and D is a whole step. So you can see there is a key in between. So for whole step, there's a key between. For half step, no key in between. So C to C sharp is a half step. C to D is a whole step. And if you check through the PDF material I dropped during the teaching, there's a formula for playing a major scale. You can play your major scale on every key, all 12 keys, with just knowing your tones and your semitone. So if you go through the material for the key of C, let's look at the key of C. For example, I told you it's the easiest key to play for beginners. The first note is your Do. Now to play your Re, you can see that there is there's a whole step in between. All right, there's a whole step between your Do and your Re. So the first whole step here is the first one for the formula. If you check through, the formula is whole step, whole step, whole step, then half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. All right, so the first whole step will start on your Re. Once you know the Re, the second note in your major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So Re is the second note. So your whole step will start from that Re. So if you know your Do, this in the key of C now, this is your Do. So Re is a whole step already. So this is whole step, another whole step. All right. So that's another whole step. First whole step, second whole step. So then a half step. All right, a half step. That's your Fa. Okay, that's Fa. Again, whole step, whole step. All right, half step. Then after your half step, you have three whole steps. All right, 1, 2, that's a whole step. 1, 2, that's a whole step. 1, 2, that's a whole step. Then half step. So the formula goes whole step. The formula goes from your Do now. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. All right, just if you don't get it, just go through the video again, or you check the material. I made the formula as simple as possible. So let's go again. In the key of C, your Do, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. All right, you can do that in any key and you get the same results for your major scale. Let's try C sharp, for example. This is your first note, then you go whole step, right? Whole step again, then half step, all right? Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Do you get it now? Again, let's go from do, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and half step. The same thing in the key of D. From your do, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. All right, for D sharp, your do, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. All right, for the key of E also, your do, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. You know, you can see you are playing your major scale already, you know, even as an absolute beginner for every key, you know. So just keep the formula in mind. The same thing for F. From your do, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. For F sharp, your do, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. All right. For G, then your whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and half step. The same thing for A flat or A flat or G sharp. So the same formula for A, the same for B flat or A sharp. All right, the same for B. So just following that formula, you can play your major scale in all 12 keys. It takes time. Just know the breakdown, know the formulas, and you're on your way to playing, you know, melody or your first chords as an absolute beginner. So on to the next video. Keep practicing, keep playing, be consistent, and you get your desired results. See you in the next video.